Hello everybody and welcome back to Rain World Archaeologist Edition. For the very last time. That's right, it's the finale. Last time, we had our final big pearl reading extravaganza, where we read the last three of the physical pearls we gathered. So the Hell on Earth Subterranean Pearl, as well as the Hell on Earth's Farm Raised Pearl. Sorry. Subterraneans were actually both pretty easy to get. Get on my face. Oh, that's a lizard, that's a lizard, that's a lizard! Goodbye. Anyway, no. The Hell on Earth Farmer Raised Pearl, and also both Subterranean Pearls, and then all of the... God damn it, I'm so bad at names right now. The Sky Islands Pearls that I hadn't touched yet. And we had a fucking time of it. And this time, we are getting both of the base game endings, so Survivor and Monk. And then, in the meantime, I'm just going to talk about my collected lore thoughts. Oh, is this a... Oh, is this a... It's a big-ass drill, huh? Well, I'm never sure if you... This feels like it shouldn't be survivable if you don't, like, do some wall stuff, but I never tested that. So, depths. Yeah, we're gonna talk about some lore thoughts while we're here. So first of all, I did in fact gather up the courage between my last session and now to test whether or not there were actually any consequences for drowning to death in front of Looks to the Moon. And now it seems like this acts like any standard. If you die in a cycle, it doesn't really count and it just resets for you, kind of thing. They just talk like normal. Which definitely helps me feel better. Boom. That's such a cool room. Feel better about how I was in front of them. So I'm not just like, oh yeah. I mean, I still feel bad about dying in front of them, but, like, it's a little bit better if they don't remember me dying? Question mark? I don't know. It's a fact that I found, so I'm reporting in on it. That is what I can say. Can I get up here? Oh! There's some of those orange guys that you see in memory crypts and stuff. I don't think this is where I'm supposed to go. This is nothing. I've gone this way, I've gone down here how many times, and I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Most confusing ass area. Okay, now I think I am supposed to go this way. So, get up, and climb over. But yeah. And speaking of Looks to the Moon, this isn't quite so much a lore reaction as a talking about my feelings that I don't know if I've really done on here before. Just the fact that, like, I know this is what we're supposed to do. I know this is like, oh yay, we're getting closure, I guess, for, you know, fulfilling the thing that we're supposed to do for little Survivor and Monk and whatever here. Like, the game has so far told us that, yeah, no, Ascension is what you want to do. There's really been nothing in here to say anything that would make you doubt that. So, like, on that level, yeah, we are undoubtedly doing, this is what we're supposed to do, and this is good. And also the fact that this is how you end the game, but, like, I feel so bad about just abandoning looks to the moon again. Because of how much they talk about, like, oh yeah, you know, the only other visitors they get are the scavengers, and they don't really they're not very good listeners. And they just come here usually to get stuff, and they don't really end up with any of that, and, you know, not being in contact with anyone else. It's like, oh, I feel like sometimes it's just like, oh yeah, it sucks to me that we, you know, help looks to the moon, again, only to, again, abandon them to, hey, you can remember things a little bit better now, consistently, like, between cycles sometimes. Anyway, you're gonna be alone now, and you have to remember that. Sucks! I know I talked last time about liking the fact that you don't have to, about the way the game is structured, where it's like you don't have to change anything, and I still think that's extremely cool. But also, it sucks in terms of looks to the moon. There's no good anything for them. Whether or not you help them or let them live or kill them or whatnot. And I don't like it. But that's my opinion as extreme looks to the moon brained. Anyway, but onto talking about specific lore things related to what we read last time. Number 1, me not being able to get up through this hole. Is there not a hole in here? There is. Okay, there we go. Okay, actual number 1. I was just thinking about the whole dialogue Looks to the Moon has about, oh yeah, eventually everything that you see here gets swallowed up by the Void Sea. And the one dialogue in the one pearl from Sky Islands where no significant harassment's like, when they're talking about someone trying to cross some stuff out and no significant harassment, you're like, oh, I wish them super good luck. What are they gonna do? Physically get their overseers to throw them into the Void Sea? I was not climbing just there. I am not touching the controller. I'm touching the controller, but none of the buttons. Oh, that's funny. I'm gonna put that away, because I don't want to... I feel like I've thrown things at these guys before. I don't like them. I don't trust them. They're scary. I really don't understand what these are. Like, are these the very few ancients that are left? Are they remnants of the even older civilizations? Are they, like, guard? Are you a purpose being? Except not in a box? I don't know. They're ominous and very cool, but also scary. Anyway, but yeah, like... It feels like, with that dialogue, I mean, technically speaking, if you just wait long enough, the iterators will eventually... That means that the iterators will eventually hit the Void Sea. Now, given that... this area seems like it is already old as balls, and I don't think they built any of the iterators that close to the Void Sea. So it would take like 1 billion years, and they would probably be dead of old age by then. Or, you know, breaking down or whatever. Like how it implies. Ignoring all of my stuff about not understanding how that works and how it's different from Ascension. But, you know. Technically they'll make it into the Void Sea, but they're probably not gonna do whatever by then. And also, as I've talked about before, I'm pretty sure that if you could just purely throwing something in the Void Sea would work every time. that would have been like the first thing that they tried and figured out, so that's still not going to help the iterators. Although I do wonder what would happen. Like, if being in contact with Void doesn't help you ascend, but like, if a still alive iterator and all their stuff just went into the Void Sea, do they just kind of float around there? And just be like, alright, guess I'm hanging out with this big old tentacle monster now? Or what? Yeah, I don't know. Also, with the Farmer Raised Pearl dialogue, we got a super duper hella answer confirmation on, yes, the echoes are ancients. And this is why they happen. Very cool. We love to see it. Concrete lore answers. Although also with that same thing, talking about like the qualifications for ascension, I mean, it doesn't talk about everything in terms of like what was it? It was 4 or 5 things that you have to like let go of in order to ascend properly. It doesn't say what the other ones are. This whole area is just, if you hold onto this pole, it just slides you upward. What is I wonder what the programming is for that causes that. Very weird. Oh! Sorry, I'm just looking at the big orange guy, the orange things again. You know what they remind me of? They kind of look like the lizards in the subterranean deep downs areas with the whiskers and whatever, without legs. I don't know if that's what they're supposed to be. I feel like these are important, especially with the fact that they seem that they're just down here and over by memory crypts. But I still don't understand what the hell is going on with them. But anyway. Like, with the qualifications of things you have to leave behind, I still don't know if... We don't know what those other things are. But it does still make me wonder if... Does that... Have we had it, like, confirmed that the whole... I know I had the thing going on there for a minute where I was like, oh, is Ascension related to memory? And at least any of that stuff related, I don't think it is. I think that was just me, again, putting together. It's like, oh, they said this word next to this word a couple times. So I'm thinking that might be an implication that that's not how that is. I'm gonna put that on the pile for now, because we don't really know. And then this area, as I said before, with the like, oh yeah, there's like a billion things that the Void Sea would have to eat through before it gets up to the ancient stuff. It's so cool walking through here again, having like really looked at that echo dialogue about, this is built on top of other civilizations, and being like, oh yeah, this isn't ancients. I mean, the ancients probably did do at least the caverns enough of these to drill down to get to the Void Sea, which we also now have the answer of from my earlier speculating. Yeah, there's one Void Sea, and it's, everything underneath the world. Do you think the world is round? Or is it flat? Or is it a different shape? This is not a question where the answer really matters, but I'm just like, okay, is it that, like, is the Void Sea just expanding and getting bigger because it's eating through things? Or is this like a case of like, there's a certain, like, okay, there's a mile of ground above the Void Sea, and it's just the consistent rate of, okay, this is how long it takes the Void Sea to eat through however much ground, but also in that exact same amount of time, the dirt builds up to build that exact amount of layering, so it's just a consistent cycle of you still have the same amount of land mass no matter what. This is not a question that matters, but I'm just curious about it now that I'm thinking about it. Because that would make a lot of sense for the way it works, because either way then that would... Because unless it's something like that, where it's like the Void Sea is not really getting any bigger, it's just bringing stuff down. Because otherwise the implication would be, so it's like, okay, I ate through that layer and everything just kind of sinks some more. But everything is built up more, so overall, what the surface is considered doesn't change in height. Otherwise, it's just like, oh yeah, the Void Sea is forever expanding and expanding and expanding. Sorry I stopped playing for a minute there. I was just very caught up in my theory, but that's it. Doesn't really matter. So, yeah. Hold on a sec. Oh yeah, that's what I had for other stuff. And now, for the little amount of time before we get to the real juicy ending stuff, start talking about the two big pearls. You know them. You have probably some feelings about them emotionally. I certainly do. The last two Sky Islands pearls I read. First of all, just the fact that, with the first one of the two, with Moon sending out the messages to everyone else, the fact that she's Big Sis Moon in that too, I think really kind of cements the fact that, no, this isn't just one of them, which was kind of one of the things I've been thinking of. I'm pretty sure this is what I was thinking about. Oh yeah, this is at least this group of Iterator, the local Iterator group, they're kind of sibling-y. Which is kind of cool. But also very sad thinking about the fact that it's like, oh yeah, now it's not just here's looks to the moon and whatever with being sad with one sibling. It's like, oh yeah, here's all your siblings. And then I was looking again at the first dialogue from just when you run into her after getting the Mark of Communication, where she's saying about oh yeah, Five Pebbles is sick and being corrupted, but maybe they all are by now, who knows? And then when you give her the first neuron, she's like, oh yeah, I don't know how many of us are still alive at this point, and just being like, oh yeah, sitting here all my siblings are dead. Sucks to think about. Makes me even more sad. It's still sad even if it's okay, here's just, the other people that existed that were my coworkers and friends and just someone else to be around and not be completely alone. Hello, big void beast. I don't understand what the lore implications of you are in the slightest. But you're crazy. But also, kind of with that Big Sis Moon thing, I'm like, is looks to the moon? The combination being called Big Sis, apparently for just by default in the local Iterator group. And also the, seniority privileges thing. Is looks to the moon the oldest, at least among her local group? Because I think that's definitely, I'm probably gonna have that as my headcanon unless it gets similar to being what if Five Pebbles is the youngest? Which is definitely not true. But unless some evidence comes along that's yeah, no, looks to the moon isn't the oldest, at least of that group, I think I'm gonna believe it, just because I like it in general. It seems like a cool idea, and also it makes me sad. And also with that and the other pearl, it's oh yeah, here's your confirmation. I kind of touched on this before, but just again, the confirmation that, oh yeah, Five Pebbles and the looks to the moon are siblings. And also the here, go ahead. You wanted to see Five Pebbles and looks at the moon talk. Here you go. And I'm this is not what I wanted. I got what I wanted in the most monkey's paw curls way possible. I swear this didn't happen when I played Survivor before. This was Survivor was when this went fast and easy. This is reminiscent of my first Monk playthrough. When I was God damn, why am I swimming down for 3 hours? which is fine. I've got a lot to talk about, so it gives me time. But I just kind of noticed that I've hit the point where it seems like nothing's changing. I don't know why the game is programmed like this. It's very confusing. Oh, nope, hold on. Things are changing. Hi! You're scary and also cute. And look at your teeny tiny little face. Hi, big void sea monster. Will you be my friend? Probably not. I mean, I don't think you really have that kind of, like, capacity. I'm just gonna keep swimming down. Oh! Yeah, I've got the thing attached to me now. Do not understand what's going on here. But whee! I don't know what the ramifications of this being about ascending are. Ooh. Looks like it pulls you back up, and then it pulls you down, and it wiggles you all around. I think I'm just here for the ride. If I remember correctly. But anyway, yeah, it's so funny that was the order, that those two happened to be the last pearls that I read out of all the pearls in the game, out of all the lore pearls in the base game. Like, that's like the most like, oh, okay, I'm gonna make this the most like dramatic storytelling ending version of that stuff. It's very funny. I did not have that planned. In fact, actually, my original plan when I recorded that episode, I was gonna read the wiki ones first. And then I just kind of changed my mind to that at some point. Hi again! Oh, I'm disconnected from it! What is it? I still don't know that. Okay, bye-bye. I don't understand any of this. Ah! Void sea creature jump scare. Look at my little ears. I'm so cute. But yeah, like, I mean, I say it's the most dramatic way of reading it, and I think it is the most dramatic ones to end with, because that is kind of like, you know, chronologically, they're definitely the last ones, and they're kind of the, okay, yeah, here is the sum of all the other pearls and things that are hinted at in lore texts. But even with that, it's like, yeah, I managed that, but I still think, because this game is very good, I feel, at the non-linear storytelling aspect. There's other games that I've played that I've been a lot less happy with it. The one that really comes to mind is Breath of the Wild. But also, I mean, there were other things I also wasn't happy, like, that's just funny, because this game has a similar thing to it too, where it's like, most of the characters you're seeing and reading about, and they're not around, and they're not here, so feels hard to feel connected to them. At least in Breath of the Wild, that was one of the things I really didn't enjoy about the story, and also, like, it didn't feel satisfying to just get the memories in whatever order, but this game, something about the way the lore pearls are structured, this is an example. This one is they did a really good job with this. Something about it, where it's just, I really like how they did it. And it feels like, yeah, I just coincidentally happened to get, well, the one that's like, at least those. Obviously, I didn't read all the pearls linearly, but some of them I did. But these last ones I kind of did. But even with that, I get the feeling that if I had read these a bit earlier, I still would have enjoyed the other ones. Like, for example, the one where it moves to the moon's like, oh yeah, talking about, you know, building 5 pebbles after them, and the groundwater is finally deemed sufficient. It was not a good idea in hindsight. If I'd read these pearls first, I would have read that one and been like, oh no, the dramatic irony of it. So, I feel like those feel like it still would have been satisfying to read no matter what the order, because of the way they're constructed. Which is good, I really like that. Especially considering that these are optional, and you really have to go out, as this playthrough proves. I mean, I'm I didn't consult any guides. I'm not a speedrunner optimizer type person, so I'm sure there's a much cleaner way to have done all of this for very many reasons. But it's nice that that's how that works. I want to keep talking about the thing, but I don't want to get interrupted mid-thoughts. I'm gonna say a small thing here, which is just the fact that I've been thinking a lot about the fact that the music that plays when you're in the menu, I don't really have an ear for music, so maybe this is gonna be a really dumb, either in terms of being, well, duh, or like, no it isn't, you're also stupid, but like, the intro theme music is literally just like, looks to the moon's room music. And I don't think there's necessarily a huge significance to that, but it does certainly make me feel a certain kind of way. God damn, this is taking 800,000 million years. I don't remember this taking that long even in my first Monk playthrough when I was like, huh? Well, I think it's getting a little bit lighter, but while we're still waiting on this, I will say, also, with my speculations on, like, what's going on in Five Pebbles' head, I kind of was all over the place with that just because it was new information, and also I was very emotional about it. I still feel things about it, but I'm not, like, screaming, crying, throwing up emotional immediately. I am very convinced that Five Pebbles knew exactly what he was doing when he did the stuff that was gonna... He knew that the stuff he was doing was gonna fuck over Looks to the Moon. And he decided he either didn't care or was worth the risk or whatever. And he probably only stopped in the way that didn't end up killing Looks to the Moon at the very last moment just because it was like, oh yeah, Looks to the Moon ruined it, and therefore he didn't really have a reason to keep going, although he still seems to be experimenting, so I don't know, maybe not? Anyway, ending part. Hello, Big Light. Got more to say about that, but I'll get back to that once we've experienced this part of it. Ascension time! Also, I don't understand what's going on with all these other little slug cats. Oh no, I do have something to say about that. But yeah, here's Survivor. All the other reflections of slug cats. Are these other slug cats? Is this me because I've died a billion times? Is it just like, not either of them, but just kind of like a metaphorical thing? Who knows? Ugh, it's so pretty though. But yeah, there's me, there's Survivor going through here. So, the next couple of little things that you see after this, it's the big old tree that you see Survivor in... Like, it's the same tree as from the intro. I mean, it's very similarly shaped. It's from the intro and also the screens. Look at all these other little slug cats! I've gone to slug cat specific ascension area. But, like, what does it mean that it's the same tree, basically? Is it... I mean, I think it'd be weird to say they're returning to where they came from. Because that doesn't really make any sense with how things worked. But the fact that there's... And this is something I just really started thinking about. The fact that there's other slug cats there already. And it also made me realize, oh yeah, Survivor is seems to be like... Is Survivor really the first slug cat that Five Pebbles has run into? Just because of the fact that, like, I mean, it took him a second to be like, okay, I'm talking to you. Oh, shoot, I need to translate for you. But he already figured out, he already knew that, oh yeah, I know how I can make this little shit specifically ascend. So, Survivor, while he definitely had more stuff, you know, build up to it than Monk, there was something where he figured out, he already, before he ran into Survivor, knew how to help them ascend and knew that that would work. So are those other slug cats, they're actually other slug cats. Like, and the dialogue that he has about, yeah, I'm going increasingly tired of running into you. I was saying, like, okay, who's in between? Is it just Hunter? Is it other slug cats we don't see? But, like, I mean, there might still be other slug cats in between Survivor and Monk chronologically from whatever, but I don't think it's necessary. It doesn't make sense for those reasons that Survivor would be slug cat number 1, first slug cat he's ever seen. I don't know what that means, but it's wild to think about. It's like, oh, that's a very interesting way to think about it. So I'm kind of taking that as what the implication is here. Yeah, I don't know about that part, but you know, these are the kinds of things where it's good for me to have decided to do this, not only to get at those other lore things, but also like seeing this lore, the ending lore, which, you know, it's weird that I was kind of going like, should I do this at one point? Because it's like, no, this is also lore. Also, I was also thinking about the beginning thing again, and it's like, it sucks that I was really assuming they would go back to their family at some point, so it's like, okay, as we'll see when I get to the Monk ending, like, Survivor and Monk reunite, which I'll talk about some more in a bit, but like, they've got their, you know, allegedly parents and also their third sibling that we see in the intro that they're just separated from forever. I mean, maybe they're also going to figure out how to ascend through whatever other means. Everybody come harass Five Pebbles. Yay! It's like, I don't think this is necessarily the point of the story of the game, is that part of it, but it's kind of in the thing of like, yeah, you're leaving Mooks to the Moon behind. Sad about that. Also the fact that it's like, you know, your family lost you and they never got you back. Also sucks. I don't know how long these credits are. Are we done? We are. Nope, not quite. Yeah, I know I was talking before about... Oh, it would be so cool if Five Pebbles and Looks of the Moon were definitely siblings, because then it would be 2 pairs of siblings. And it is 2 pairs of siblings. And the fact that, you know, the ending of the Lore Pearls is, hey, these 2 siblings, is, okay, Looks to the Moon and Five Pebbles shit, yeah, their stuff's all fucked up, and it's messy and tragic and all that stuff, and they're, you know, separated forever, and, well, not forever, but we don't know that it's forever, but given the state of things and the fact that we're not doing anything, probably. Compared to Survivor and Monk getting to reunite, it's like, yes. Both the confirmation that they're siblings and also here's some more things for you to think about in terms of contrasting sibling narratives. Oh, it fucks me up, man. I feel like it's... Given the amount of time I had to think about it, I feel like I should have something smarter, but no, it's just the... God damn. But it does mean a whole lot to me that at least Survivor and Monk, the implication is that they're reuniting with the Ascension stuff. Which is good, because that was really a thing that I was worried about with all of that stuff, where I was like, I really wanted that to happen, because, again, the sibling narrative stuff really gets to me. Yeah, no. And then there's the other siblings in this game. Looks at the moon and 5 pebbles. It's so... Speaking of 5 pebbles, it's such a mess at the end of of those pearls reading. I literally just laid down on the floor like I was the son in the "Are you winning, son" meme. I was not winning. And I was gonna be like, okay, listen, 5 pebbles. The game is going fine in terms of gameplay. But you know what isn't going well? My emotions. You've been a bad iterator, and you were like, fuck it, I don't care if I kill my sister. So I was gonna put him in the microwave, but hadn't cleaned the microwave recently enough. So instead I stuck him underneath the glass for a while. Bad and naughty iterators go in punishment glass to atone for their crimes. So yeah, I'll see you guys again in a moment. I'm gonna load up Monk and talk with the last bits of stuff I have in there. Okay, so, second ending. We've kind of already talked about it, but we're still gonna look at it just in case I A, glean anything else, and B, to give me some time. Ignore the extremely large cycle count. I've been doing some stuff on this specific account related to gathering. I wanted to see what happens if I get a whole big bunch of neurons and just keep giving them to looks to the moon. Like, does that do anything? Is this anything? Do you say anything if I give you, like, 10 neurons? Yeah. So I have a, like, unlimited passage mod that I've been using just for that part, because it really slows down my game, and also my wall climb mod does not work when I have it on for some reason. But yeah, that's what the count is on here for, because I only really noticed once I started doing that, but every time you passage, it uses up like 5 cycles. Which doesn't really matter for these, you know, for Monk and Survivor, although I do wonder if it still does that for Hunter. Which is something I'll just have to be aware of when I play that. Not that I mean, considering how much I died, you know, so far, I don't know if I'm ever gonna, like, you know, do enough to accomplish all the stuff, and also the way the food is. They should... Getting Monk on that one, specifically, would be so obnoxious. So, like, that's not worth getting. You certainly don't get points toward the Hunter achievement, so, But, yeah, anyway. But speaking of doing that stuff, had one very interesting thing happen while I was... God, that's bright. While I was running that for some reason I didn't think to even just, like, record without commentary. I did post it, I did have some screenshots of it, so I'll put those up while I'm talking about this. But I was running around back and forth in Looks to the Moon's area, and there was a blue overseer that spawned in there. Down in this first little area in the bottom right. And I was like, hello? Blue? Because, you know, first of all, I've been in that room a million billion times for between, just playing the game regularly and, also all the running around getting pearls that I've done. And I don't even remember if I've seen an orange overseer in there, but I wouldn't think anything of that. I have never seen a blue overseer spawn in Looks to the Moon's area. Ever before. And so I was like, can I get this to spawn in Looks to the Moon's room? Because you can do that, because the orange ones does that, at least at the one point. So I kind of ran around the circle of the room, getting back up there. And while it followed me around all the way to the room where that last den is right before it Looks to the Moon, it stopped popping up there. It wouldn't show up in her area. So I don't know what's up with that in terms of programming or lore implications or anything, but that's kind of it's wild. Because it's like, oh yeah, those are 5 pebbles. I don't think 5 pebbles is necessarily connected to his overseers anymore either, just because of the fact that they're definitely observing you before you get to him, and then he would know. I don't know. And also just the fact that, if he's... They seem equally or more lost than Looks to the Moon's. Again, assuming blah 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 that the colors that I'm assigning to whose is actually the right ones. But yeah, that was weird. Anyway, what else do I have to say here? Hi! Cool big scary creatures. I know at one point I found one of these that I can just, jump on their head. You can't, just climb up and grab on them, right? Can you grab these guys? Nope. Can I... This is still too low down. I feel like there's another one deeper down that I ran into at one point that I don't know how to get back to again. But you can jump on their heads if you can reach them. But yeah. Despite all that, despite being, as I said, very angry with 5 Pebbles about how all that shit went down, it's really just because it's okay, on principle, obviously what he did was bad. I don't object to the fact that he did all he was I'm gonna do some weird experiments to try and do things that I'm not supposed to do. That part I love. That part's great. I encourage that. It's just the fact that Looks to the Moon is getting hurt in the process. And as I said before, my bias swings so far much more towards Looks to the Moon than 5 Pebbles that it's yeah, of course I'm gonna be angry at you, you little fucker. But, ignoring that part of it, this is, it's so good for him as, a character and for lore and stuff. It's I am chewing on him like a squeaky toy with in my brain, just being hell yes, this is, the conclusion of all your narrative stuff about being, I struggle to accept being a bug. This is all we can do. Frustrated. Seven Red Suns, you said there was only doing nothing or what you're supposed to. Fuck that. I'm finding my own thing. I'm, ignoring the things about the taboos. I'm finding this answer and doing other things my own way. And I don't care what the consequences are for me or for anyone else. Falling into despair. That's so cool. I love it. As I said, chewing on him, biting him, doing that meme drawing that's like a person with something in between their teeth and they'd go while shaking their head around violently with it in their teeth. That's me with Five Pebbles. I love his writing and how good he is. Again, it just makes... I'm just also angry at him because it's looks to the moon. Honestly, if it was any other iterator, I'd be like, damn, boy, that sucks. Cool, though. I mean, it also is the fact that these are the two characters that you're attached to, so yeah, if it was somebody else I was less attached to, that makes sense anyway, but... As I said, looks to the moon bias on a magnitude that has its own scale. And it just drives me so, like, how does the forced communication work is what I want, because, like, obviously it's like, I'm going to make the communication channels be open and make you so you are going to listen to this. You know, whether or not you respond, I don't know if that's part of the forced communication, because it seems like that's not required. But it's like, it's unpleasant for everyone. What does it do to the other iterator communications? I mean, I don't know how their standard communication channels work anyway. But, like, if it's unpleasant for everyone... Oh, no. I think it does say private forced. So I was gonna ask if, like, does everyone else know what went down there? But I don't think they did. Although I do still wonder whether Looks to the Moon's initial transmission to the group, like, I assume that actually got out to everyone, but I'm still left wondering whether it's like, okay, did it actually, like, did they transmit but no one got it either because they couldn't transmit, or did no one else get it because they couldn't, no one else could receive it? Which doesn't make sense, because at least we know Chasing Wind was talking to Seven Red Suns after that, so that wouldn't be it. But, like, was it a case of message not received and therefore they had to go into the forest, or... I mean, even if the message was received, Five Pebbles wasn't answering for Looks to the Moon. I don't think, as I said before, Five Pebbles knew what he was doing, I think. So I don't think he was he wasn't gonna answer for anybody, so that part didn't matter even if it got out to anyone. And no matter how much they tried, they wouldn't be able to get to him either. But I'm still curious, like, so it really doesn't matter whether Looks to the Moon managed to actually get out to communicate to the local iterated group or not, but I'm still curious just for, like, thinking about... It's less of a question on the effect on, like, that part and the consequences of it, and more just, like, what do the other iterators know? Because all we really have regarding that is the, like, does Moon know Moon has not been available for some time? Which could mean anything, so... Does not help. So, like, I mean, that part has to be the last time that Looks to the Moon and Five Pebbles talked. Like, I mean, there's just... First of all, I don't feel like there's any coming back from that, but also, just in general... Thematically, it feels like that would be when they got cut off anyway. I mean, not that there's no coming back from that, but, you know, that's a big moment to have to try and come back from relationship-wise. But yeah, I was also thinking of, like, the other bit of dialogue when you give Looks to the Moon a neuron about, like, his condition has severely deteriorated since last I heard of him. And the last time she heard of him, I think, would have been that moment when he, you know, was doing that huge round of experiments, which, considering the fact that Looks to the Moon says, I mean, he had a round of corruption before this incident, presumably, But that didn't seem to have affected the groundwater for the two of them in nearly the same way as this incident did. So this seems like it was definitely, like, even if he got contaminated, corrupted before, I don't think that was nearly as big of a thing, even at first. And, I mean, it might also be a thing that, like, that got dumped, and, like, Five Pebbles might have actually tried to get rid of that corruption, whereas this time he might have just been like, fuck it. I don't care anymore. I don't know. But also thinking about that whole part, the, looks to the moon's dialogue where they're like, also makes me think about the part where they're talking about, what happens if they run out of water. It is very painful line. I was right to be suspicious of that too. They're talking from experience. I don't like that. I hate thinking about that part. Because, they're very clearly dying in the forced communication group, so yeah. Again, one of those things that makes it hard for me not to be mad at Five Pebbles. And I say that as if I'm not mad at Five Pebbles. I am mad at Five Pebbles for that part. Yeah, no, it's, again, this is one of the things where it's like, yeah, having seen that pearl early and having it be a guess of, like, Five Pebbles fucked looks to the moon over in some way is good, but, like, if I had read that later, I would have been like, oh! Great! Great, great, great. I mean, I imagine dying would be painful in general, but it sucks to have it confirmed that, yeah, looks to the moon was in pain during those communications. Hi again, void creature! I'm here to talk to... I want my sibling back. Please? Boop! Boop. Boop the snoot. Boop the big creature snoot. Get back here. Touchy the thing. Oh, it's the thread! I don't know what this means, but it's gotta mean something that they put the thread on you and drag you around and then get rid of it. This has to be something. Again, I don't understand shit about what's going on here, but it's fascinating to look at. But yeah, also, like, is this incident, because, I mean, is this what Cuts looks to the... Is this the thing that, like, Cuts looks to the moon off from everyone else and puts them in what becomes their current... Because I can't imagine they immediately went from, oh shit, the groundwater is a problem, to, anyway, everything is broken down and I'm just my puppet. I've got all these holes and everything, and all of my, the rest of my me. I imagine it was oh shit, this stuff stopped working, and then it deteriorated because I couldn't maintain it. And stuff like that, because I don't have any control over what's going on. I mean, I have to assume that the iterators have some amount of, like, self-repair functions in them. Hi again. Can I touch your weird green body stuff? What's going on in here? Ah! They said goodbye. But yeah, I would have to assume that incident is, like, something in what was going on there busted something that was going on with them. Maybe? I mean, it's not really confirmed. It could have been something else, but again, just the fact that, like, this is all the lore you get in this game. So, like, I feel like that has to mean something. Not that everything has to be connected. Obviously, there can just be loose ends. B, there could be something in the Hunter playthrough. C, they could have decided to add something later in Downpour. But, hello, other slug cat. I feel like there's a reasonable probability to guess that this might have been part of what happened there. And then also, going back to some sibling relationship stuff with those two. Like, Looks at the Moon doesn't remember the talking to the message to the Iterator group at large. But she definitely recalls the forced conversation with Five Pebbles. So, like, from the moment we, like, at least give it, like, because I have to assume that dialogue is the same even if you haven't. Look at that slug cat next to me. That's a speedy slug cat. Bye. But, like, I would assume that doesn't change whether or not you give them a neuron. So, like, Looks to the Moon remembers this whole time that Five Pebbles did that to her. And, like, I know it's been very well established with everything else that, like, Looks to the Moon is very niceys, but, like, god damn, that's a remarkable amount of grace. And I mean, we really don't know what their relationship was like before any of the stuff happened because we don't see them talk. So, like, maybe they really were just not very close or cool towards each other, you know, and just say, okay, yeah, there's nothing wrong here and we can, like, respect each other and work together, but there's nothing more going on there in terms of affection or closeness or whatever. I like to think there was at least a little bit, just because that makes it more tragic. But, and the fact that Looks, just even if they were just whatever towards each other to start with, it's still a remarkable amount of, like, kindness and patience and grace that the fact that Looks to the Moon just talks about Five Pebbles neutrally to occasionally what seems like a little bit affectionately. Like, I mean, the lines about, like, oh yeah, giving them another neuron and being like, I'm sure Five Pebbles wouldn't mind. Well, he would, but he has so many that he wouldn't notice. And, like, I forget what the exact material was, but, like, oh yeah, the facility was made to give Five Pebbles these. But knowing him, he probably hasn't used any. He's like, I mean, it could be a little bit of a mean-spirited, but the way I read the tone is like, I am just, you know, normal sibling bullying, tone indicator affectionate. I mean, I'm sure we don't know how long this is, but I assume it's certainly been a while. Again, given how much Looks to the Moon's area's deteriorated. I'm sure she's had a lot of time to think about it, but I mean, like, having a long time to think about it doesn't necessarily mean you are, like, over whatever. Like, that could just mean you've had a long time to stew in things, and for your anger to, you know, fester. And obviously, this could be a thing of, like, Looks to the Moon is, in fact, you know, was angry at Five Pebbles, is still angry at him, but is choosing not to, you know, just constantly express that. I mean, I personally, just to be realistic, I do think there's at least some amount of, you know, some kind of negative emotion there, just on the principle of, hey man, that was a fucked up thing, this is a fucked up thing to do. And, you know, just having the unresolved hurt of that, even if it is like, yeah, I can give you some amount of it either because you're a sibling or I understand what's going on or whatever. Oop. Hello? Where'd everybody go? There's no light going on and also everybody's gone. Oh, there they're back again. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, it's like, despite how much Looks to the Moon has talked about Five Pebbles, it still leaves me sitting here thinking, like, dang, I still want more about the two of them. Like, about how does Looks to the Moon feel about Five Pebbles more directly? And then still, like, I still don't have anything about how Five Pebbles really feels about Looks to the Moon, other than the fact that no matter how they felt about each other previously, he's still willing to do that stuff, whether they were close or whether they weren't. But yeah, it's just a lot to think about in terms of, you know, sibling relationships. Game, give me angst. Anyway, let's get this ending. Swim, 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 swim. Just a big old ball of light. It does make kind of a similar noise to the creature. Don't know what the significance of the fact that there's a creature, but then you keep swimming into the light. There's the slug cat swimming again. Same thing in terms of lore implications or thoughts or whatever for those two. Both versions of this thing. And here we go. More of the same one for this. And then it's the one after that. That's different. There's the cat. Looking at stuff that's going on. So cute. They did such a good job at designing these little guys. But yeah, so the other one, they were just kind of looking, and now you got Monk who's reaching. The purple of like, oh yeah, that's probably implied to be the tree, but the specific coloring of, yeah, here's Monk, the yellow slug cat, looking at the white slug cat when they were all the same colors before, and it was kind of color agnostic in the story pictures. It's like, that's so clearly that the siblings are reuniting. That also just makes me want to rip and tear and bite things. Like, As I was saying, sibling relationship, very different stories. It was interesting in that part of the ending and the implications. Seeing this, playing Monk first and seeing the part where it's like, okay, sibling reunion, cool. And then going to the other ending and being like, okay, so we're just going to see that from the other side or what? And being like, oh no. I mean, it does play more into the fact of, yeah, this is chronological, and you're seeing all these other slug cats. It's... yeah. But, yeah, I mean, that's... very good timing on getting to this part where that's pretty much what I had to say about all of the lore stuff. Oh! No, wait, hold on. I forgot something. So I was re-looking at the Looks of the Moon dialogue stuff I had saved in preparation for this, mostly to get a hold of their dialogues when you first give them the neurons and talk to them, because I wanted to look at that phrasing that I referenced. But I also happened to look at just when I did bring them some blank pearls in some of my other playthroughs just to look at. There was one that I found that was like a lot longer of a thing, and it's like, given that it's a blank pearl, this probably isn't something big, but I still wanted to read it because it's, I don't know, I thought it was kind of interesting. So it was just one text box, and I'll edit that screenshot in on here while I'm reading it, but we of the 592nd High Convocation of the True Anointed Citadel do hereby demand, with full force of law and religious doctrine, an immediate end to construction of the apostate superstructure abomination. To place shadow upon the divine body of the True Anointed Citadel is outrageous blasphemy and cannot be tolerated, no matter the circumstances. Clearly, this was ignored. So, like, I don't really recognize any of the specific, like, wording. Like, even calling them, like, the High Convocation, that's definitely not the wording that they used for, like, the family groups before, or anything. I mean, it might... no, because they were just talking about, like, of whatever heritage. No, they were talking about houses in the hey, stop irritating 5 pebbles wall pearl. But, like, I don't know what this is referencing, or if it's referencing anything that's really important to hear at all. But the fact that it's like, okay, I mean, citadel is obviously a word that's used in the game for shaded citadel. But I don't know if, like, the True Anointed Citadel is the shaded citadel, or if they just happen to be, they're just words. And also, like, end construction to the apostate superstructure abomination. I don't think that's a location in this game. I know there's stuff like, oh yeah, the communications array.
and like that, but I don't recall seeing anything that's a superstructure. What is the... I don't remember the definition of apostate off the top of my head, but I know it has to do with, like, somebody who's going against, like, religious doctrine, or is, like, being kicked out of a, it has to do with, like, hey, here's a religious spiritual thing, this is not aligned with that. Which makes sense with the whole blasphemy thing. But, like, I don't know. Again, I am assuming since it's a blank one, this probably doesn't mean anything, but it was like, it's the most specific one that I've seen, that out of the ones I've seen. And I was just like, I didn't remember this before. So I just wanted to have it here for posterity in case for some buck wild reason it's like, hey, this is going to / does mean something. There's something getting built, and some of them are not happy about it for spiritual reasons. But yeah, we have now truly hit the end of all the lore gathering for base game Archaeologist running. It's still wild to me that I've gotten through all this stuff, and it's the ending of this stuff, but it's not the ending of me playing the game, thankfully. So next thing I'm gonna do is, the next kind of thing in terms of what you would naturally be playing in the game, which is, I suppose somebody could naturally, like, play the base, play monk / survivor, and then just go straight to the downpour stuff, but it feels like I like the non-linear storytelling in this game, but I feel like the intention was, considering that downpour is a DLC, you probably want to at least have awareness of what's going on in Hunter as, like, a building. I don't know. Maybe you could. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna play Hunter first. Or, at least make my very best attempt at all the crazy stuff. That person's just a smiley face! That's fun! So yeah, and I'm still gonna get lore there, and as I said before, it's, as far as I understand, there is at least one more. There's some Slugcat that's supposed to have different lore pearls for all of them, and I know from looking at the lore pearls guide that there's some unique downpour pearls, so we'll obviously get to that lore, so don't worry, there's gonna be plenty more of me rambling on about the things this game tells me about its history and present and whatever implications about things that are going on. That person was just 3 question marks. They're having a lot of fun with these names in the credits. I did not pay I'm assuming this is like some kind of backer, Patreon, etc. type of thing. Cool. Yeah. This has been a wild ride. I am so glad I decided to do this. The lore for this game is so cool and so well written and very compelling for me personally, and it really makes me want to play everything else in this game and just devour everything that's possible. So yeah, no, this was very cool, and thanks to anyone who might actually be watching this. It's a finale, so I can't say I'll see y'all next time, but as I said before, there's still gonna be more of me playing. I'm still gonna keep playing this game, so I hopefully will see y'all in Hunter. Bye. Okay, so very short post-commentary note. I opened up the game for the first time since then, and this is what I have for the image starting up, this is my Survivor playthrough that I just did for the ending. I've got the little, like, ghosty version of them. And the one that I noticed it on, if we can go back to my save slots. Also, in Monk. Which is weird because I've done the endings on these games before and looked at them like, this is my first playthrough of the game ever where I've had when I played Monk when I very first played the game. I got to the ending on that one. It did not have its own special little thing. And going back to the second save slot. Also something that changed, I can access Hunter now, which I could not do before without having literally just finished a playthrough and then immediately going to that. If I exited the game before that, it would have not let me do that even though I had completed one. I'm guessing this is just like an update to the game that they've done since I first started playing the game. But it's new and interesting, and I thought I would point it out, so yeah.